It's Sunday, and I'm wrapping up the week by summarizing this week's theme, the one big, beautiful bill and what it means for your money. Now, in case you missed any of the episodes this week, here's a brief recap. So, I talked about some of the key provisions in the bill that I think are going to impact retirees and pre retirees the most. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot in this bill. There's a lot I didn't talk about. I didn't talk about the tax brackets. I didn't talk much about the SALT deduction or state and local taxes deduction. I didn't talk at all about Trump accounts. I briefly mentioned 529s. These are all things that are in the bill that may or may not have an impact on you. So, what I tried to do instead is just focus on the things that have the broadest impact on the most people who are getting ready to retire or who will be retiring soon. So I talked primarily about what I think is the real impact that no one is talking about, and that is the inflation, interest rate, economic impact that are by extension will impact your 401k, your investment portfolio, and that is going to impact everyone for better or for worse. So it remains to be seen how the one big beautiful bill will impact economic growth, inflation, interest rates, etc. I had some thoughts on that I shared earlier this week. I also talked about some of the charitable giving changes. On the one hand, it's going to expand the number of people who can benefit tax-wise from doing more charitable giving. On the other hand, for higher income earners, for those who itemize, you may have some restrictions with how much you can give and benefit from a tax standpoint. And then I talked about some of the clean energy tax credits that are going away, as well as some incentives that are in place between basically 2025 and 2028. If you want to buy a new car, you just got to make sure it's made in America or assembled in America, I should say, and it fits certain criteria. But if you're looking to buy a car in the next 2-3 years, it might give you a certain incentive structure to buy a particular type of car because you can get a deduction on auto loan interest. Then I talked about something that will be of particular interest to many of you, and that is the new tax deduction for Americans who are 65 and older. This is temporary. It goes into effect, I believe, in 2025, and then it sunsets or it ends at the end of 2028 unless it's extended. And then I talked lastly yesterday about just generally how higher income earners really need to plan more carefully with the one big beautiful bill. It did make the tax situation more complicated, particularly for higher earners. There's lots of different deductions, lots of different phase outs, lots of different, if this, then that type scenarios. And so any planning decision, any estate decision, any gifting, charitable giving, lifetime giving to your kids, etc. All of those you want to be very careful about because the rules are changing and they're changing. A lot of these rules go into effect in 2025. Many of them are delayed until next year. So you really want to just carefully navigate that. At the very least, get yourself some really good quality tax planning software if you have a more simple situation. If your situation is more complicated, especially if you own a business or have multiple sources of income, or if you have a high income, then you're going to want to pay for a competent tax advisor. And I really tried to hit that home in yesterday's episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, subscribe and follow so you never miss an episode. Leave a review. Your feedback helps me improve the podcast. I read all of them. Sometimes I get scared. I'm like, I need you to read this to me because I can't look. I must look. No, most of the reviews are pretty good, thankfully, which tells me I'm not terrible at this. I do appreciate your feedback. It does help me improve. And I really enjoy the constructive feedback as well. So if you don't like how I talk, I don't know. I can't really change that though, can I? I wish I could. Sidebar, when I was in high school, I used my friend, she was like, do you smoke a lot of weed? Can I say that on the podcast? I don't know. And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, you sound like a stoner because of the way you talk. And I'm like, I know sometimes I pause at odd times. Like you would normally pause at the end of a sentence where the period is, but sometimes I pause randomly in the middle of a sentence. And it is because I do have a lot of brain fog, but you must forgive me. I have 4 children. I don't sleep through the night every night like I would like. I certainly don't sleep in. I cannot tell you the last time I had a nap. Unless I'm ill and in bed, it's been years since I've just had an afternoon relaxing nap. If anyone wants to come over and babysit my children for a couple hours so I can rent a hotel room and go have a nap in peace, be sure to let me know. Okay, lastly, share this podcast with a friend or family member who's getting close to retirement. And if you're interested in learning more about working with me, I promise you, I'm not a drug addict. You can check out my website, truenorthra.com. There you can book a free 15-minute call with me. You just click on the link in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage. I love hearing from you. Happy to chat about anything on your mind regarding retirement. No strings attached, no sales pitch whatsoever. All right, tomorrow I'm starting a brand new theme. Do not let money ruin your trip when you travel with friends. It's that time of year. It's the dog days of summer. It's the tail end of summer. I'll be on vacation this week. Actually, as you are listening to this podcast, I am on vacation. If you're listening to it the day it comes out. And so with that in mind, I thought it would be fun to look at what it's like to travel with friends. What are some etiquette things to keep in mind, especially when you're sharing costs? Things can get awkward about, who's paying for what. When I'm on vacation, if you're listening to this episode live when it airs, there will be 12 of us in one house. So send help quick. I'll be there with my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, her 2 kids, and then the 6 of us from my husband and I and our 4 kids. So I don't know the last time. Certainly not stayed in a house of 12 of us before. It's been many years since we've done a family vacation all in one house. I might regret it. We'll see. But we'll focus next week on, because I'm on vacation, I'm not going to break it up into daily episodes. I'm just going to do one longer episode. And I will publish that tomorrow, most likely. So anyways, I hope you have a blessed Sunday. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.